Now to a battle that dates back to the birth of America, a battle being fought anew, this time by the citizens of Washington. Their license plates tells the tale of this modern-day battle against taxation without representation.
The House will come to order.
In the last month alone, Congress voted to increase the minimum wage.
The bill is passed.
Pass ethics and lobbying reform.
The bill is passed.
And approve a multi-billion-dollar spending bill for the war in Iraq.
On this vote, the yeas are 280 and the nays are 142.
But one congressional district could offer neither a yay or a nay on these or any other House measures, the District of Columbia, because it has no voting rights in Congress.
It really is almost on the verge of hypocritical for us to call ourselves the world's greatest democracy, but not give district residents an opportunity to have representation.
Instead, D.C. has a delegate, Congresswoman Eleanor Holmes Norton. She may not have a vote, but she certainly has a voice.
And gave us home rule. I will not yield, sir. The District of Columbia has spent 206 years yielding.
And she has used it to get a bill passed in the House that would give the district its first full vote on the House floor.
You would think that the one vote everybody was entitled to is a vote in the People's House.
But in Washington, principle is peppered with politics. Norton's would be a Democratic seat, so a compromise in her bill offers an additional seat to the Republican state of Utah, the state next in line to enlarge its congressional delegation based on its population. But that hasn't stopped some conservatives from calling the measure unconstitutional.
Clearly, the Constitution states that any individual who serves in the United States House of Representatives must represent a state, and the District of Columbia is not a state.
Residents here used to have their votes counted in either Maryland or Virginia, but once the federal government took over the city back in 1801, they no longer had a vote, leaving historians to wonder if the Founding Fathers actually intended to deny representation in Congress to the people who live in D.C.
I think they just saw it as business as usual. If you were on the Maryland side of the Potomac River in the federal district, you were considered part of Maryland.
Arguably, the country's balance of power won't change. Norton's bill doesn't provide for a district seat in the Senate, and it's the Senate that must still approve the bill, which President Bush has threatened to veto. But that hasn't dampened D.C.'s hopes.
Everyone is always saying, well, write your congressman. Well, I don't really have one.
That it will one day have both taxation and representation.